Mayhem. Welcome to another Nerd Order review. Today I am with a member of Chapter 26.
Hey, you're right. I'm Shaun. I'm the vocalist of Chapter 26. Pleasure to see everyone.
Thank you so much for being here.
Hey, you're more than welcome, mate. More than welcome. Glad to be here.
So tell me a little bit about yourself.
So I am the vocalist of a band called Chapter 26. We're just a startup band at the moment. We've recently released our first EP called Existence. Yeah, it's been a good little project, really. Like, we're just a group of friends just sort of like trying to make music together. So yeah, it's been pretty good, and it's kind of like led us to a few paths. We've met like quite a few nice people, mainly online at the moment because of like local lockdowns and things like that. But yeah, it's been really good, really good.
So where did all this begin for you? Like the idea for the band and all that?
So the band was actually a thing before I joined it. So I knew our drummer and our guitarist Nick before joining the band, and I just kind of like got it in my head once that I kind of like just wanted to be a vocalist in a band, and I spoke to Nick because I knew he played guitar and asked if he wanted to start something, and he was like, "Oh, actually, I'm already in a band and we're looking for a vocalist. So if you want to like come down and just kind of like try out." So it kind of went from there. Yeah, and then obviously I went to the practice. I got on with everyone really well, made some friends out of it, and yeah, it's just kind of like gone from there. Really, it's been really good. It's been a nice little experience.
That's amazing. I love seeing
So,
groups like that. Just like a bunch of friends getting together. I think that's probably like some of the best things you can do when it comes to making music is have friends you play with because it makes it a lot better of an experience.
oh yeah, definitely, yeah, 100%. I mean, like our bassist Harry and the other guitarist Matt. I've met them through the band, but obviously we've all become like really good friends. It's like it's a, just a it's just a nice experience being able to try and make music with people, because obviously music's something that's like really personal, and everyone has different tastes in music. So when you actually kind of like find a group of people that you can write music with, and all of your influences come together in one sound, it's just like such a nice experience for everyone, and especially as well like we're a relatively new band. We've just released our first EP. We've just got online and sort of like started putting it out there, and the reception for it has just been so great. Like, and obviously, we're just like five people making noise in a practice room, but everyone seems to like really be enjoying it, which is really great. Like, we're really grateful for that. So
Yeah, I was listening to it again this morning, and I really enjoy it. And I really look forward to whatever's next for you guys. We're like a lot of my audience and I just looking forward to that, especially in Moonlight. He and I have been working a lot together recently. So
mm,
it's been an
yeah. Oh,
experience.
thanks, man. Yeah, no, it's been like I say, it has been really good. We're all Well, I mean, we all quite like it. We've got a new track on the way, but obviously the problem at the moment is England's in like a national lockdown, so we're having a bit of a tough time trying to get into a studio. But we're good friends of the guy whose studio we use. It's Dan Lucas at Anchor Baby Recordings.
Hmm.
So as soon as this whole lockdown thing's over, we'll definitely be straight back in there, and we're getting this new single recorded for everyone to hear. So that'll be good.
I'm
Looking
glad
forward
to
to
hear.
that.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, with the pandemic, it's been really hard for people to make music. I was actually about to ask that, like, how's making music during this whole pandemic been for you guys? And you just basically answered that question for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so the tracks that we've got on the EP were obviously written prior to the pandemic. I mean, it has caused quite a lot of problems, but I mean, just trying to get this EP recorded for us, I mean, has been quite an uphill battle. I mean, we've all been working together for about 2 years, since about 2018, and then there's just been so many different things that have kind of like happened that have kind of like postponed stuff getting recorded, and then obviously the lockdown happened, and then that made it so much worse, and then England's been in and out of lockdowns this whole time, and we're not really sure like when that's going to end. So but I mean, like, it has given people like quite a lot of time to think about music as well, which I think is like a really great aspect of it. Something I've seen like recently, like 2020 was a write-off for quite a lot of stuff, but there's so many bands out there making really good music like during this, and actually having the time to kind of like properly focus on it is a really good thing. So I think some of the best albums I've heard like have come out in 2020.
Honestly, yeah, like Mentally Blind's new stuff's coming out, and all the other groups that I've been speaking with too. It's like a lot of their stuff is coming out now because they have a lot more time to focus on it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I actually watched your interview with Mentally Blind this morning actually, and that was really good. Their new single is really, really good as well. Like we're all quite big fans of those guys, so that's good.
Yeah, honestly, I love doing this. It's so much fun to be able to talk about newer bands. It's just been a real treat for me.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. Like this is the thing as well. Like since we've been on it's mainly Instagram. Like that's the one that we kind of like push ourselves on most because it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of like the one where you can kind of like get more of like your personality involved. That's like the social media site that we prefer. Facebook is kind of like doesn't push it quite as much. I think you need kind of like more physical content for Facebook, but Instagram, you know, you can just kind of send snippets of stuff out there and people really react to it. And
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know, like, you know, things like the stuff that you do, and then there's loads of promotion pages on there and stuff like that as well. And like I say, the work that you guys do is just fantastic for local bands. Like it's fantastic for big bands, it's fantastic for small bands, it's like bands in general, mate. Like it's just been so good, especially like we're just like I say, we're just a small band from Kent. Like we expected like maybe five of our friends to listen to the music and be like, oh yeah, no, it was okay. But when it kind of reaches that larger audience and people like you helping us out with it, it's just honestly, it's fantastic. Thank you so much for everything you're
of
doing,
course.
man. So,
I made this page to help spread music of newer artists. That's why I got this project made. I started it in December. Then I
hmm,
just started working on it until now. Because metal has really helped me through a lot of shit, if you will. And I
yeah,
wanted to give back to the community that helped me out a lot.
yeah, definitely. It's like I said, I mean, I personally, I like quite a lot of genres of music. Like it ranges from like house to drum and bass to hip hop to metal to rock to loads of different stuff.
Well, I'm
But
the
for
same way.
me, metal is the most personal. I think
Like I
like
can
it's the
go
one with most emotion.
I can go anywhere from orchestra to metal and everything in between. But I
Mm.
consider myself more of a metalhead because like it's all just pure emotion, which a lot of the listeners can really relate to.
Yeah, 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 definitely. I think that's the thing. Like it's a genre of music that just allows people to kind of like speak freely about how they think, how they feel, and you've also got some really sick drums, guitars, and bass behind it as well, which everybody's a fan of. So,
Exactly.
but no, it's really really good, really really good. It's definitely our favorite genre of music, or else we wouldn't be making it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Actually, yeah. What was your inspirations for metal? Like, what got you really into this?
I mean, me personally, I've been listening to metal since I was like 12 years old. And then I'd probably say I think with everyone, it's got that snowball effect. So you kind of like when you're really young, you listen to bands like Linkin Park and I don't know, like Green Day, Nirvana, sort of like pop punkier, grungier bands. Well, Linkin Park are a little bit more industrial, but you know, and then it kind of like snowballs from there. I remember, I mean, for me personally, metalcore and deathcore are definitely the two main genres, and they're the things that kind of like really make me want to move about. They want to make me like play guitar. They make me want to like write lyrics and stuff like that. I remember the first time I ever heard a really heavy band. It was a Job for a Cowboy. It was their Doom EP, and I remember the song was Entombment of a Machine, and the first time I ever heard that, all that went through my mind was "fuck, I want to be able to make those noises." But yeah, I don't know, it's crazy. Like, and then obviously, you know, your music taste grows and grows, and you just kind of like find more bands. I mean, I think personally, it's hard to pinpoint like one specific band that kind of like changed my life, but there's influences everywhere, man. Like absolutely everywhere. I'd probably say like some of my all-time favorite bands would probably be like Lamb of God. Um, I mean, we hate to say it now, obviously, because Bring Me the Horizon changed quite a lot, and I know that upset
Yeah,
their
they
fan
did.
base. But I mean, they influenced so much. like they managed to bring deathcore to like a mainstream kind of audience, and it's unbelievable, like the work they've done with that. Like you can't deny that they've got some really really good albums. They've got some really good tunes. Like, so yeah, they're probably up there, I'd say. Yeah, for the rest of the band, I think we all listen to metal, but it's all kind of like different variants. So it's mainly metalcore and deathcore. But our bassist Harry, she absolutely loves hardcore. Absolutely loves it. She's a massive inspiration for her. Our guitarist Nick is a massive Gent fan. So yeah, he like just anything with guitars that make you go, "How the fuck did they just play that?" Yeah, anything really.
I know that feeling too well. Like I'm into almost all the subgenres of metal. Like I listen to everything, death metal,
Mm,
deathcore, hardcore. I listen to all of it. And to bring me their Horizon thing, I really do get that because when they first started out, like "Can You Feel My Heart," that was such a good track, which really
mm.
got them mainstream. But it's like they have kind of fallen over the recent years.
Yeah, I mean, like their music's still good. They released that album, the new album last year, and I listened to it, and there were some heavier tracks on there. They kind of fell off like the pop bandwagon, I think, and then they started making some heavier tracks again. And they've managed to kind of like just make this really unique sound, and it is really good. But I mean, like for me, two of the albums that kind of shaped who I was as like a young teenager at 13 was like Count Your Blessings and Suicide Season. Like they were just unreal. Hearing music like that and then like hearing all your friends listen to it is just it's kind of I don't know. Like because I've got quite a close group of friends and we've all been friends since we were kids and we've all liked the same music like the whole time. And Bring Me the Horizon were definitely a huge band for us, definitely back then. Um, but yeah, they definitely went down a bit more of a poppy route in more recent years. But credit to them, they are good at making pop music. So
Fair
fair
enough.
play. Yeah, exactly,
You know, I
exactly. But
I
yeah,
do get sorry.
oh no, sorry, no, go on, go.
I do get that thing about the friends though. Like when it comes to music, I actually got a lot of my friends into metal. Like when I
Mm.
showed them your new track, they're like, "You're interviewing these guys?" I'm like, "Yep." They thought it was great.
Oh, that's
And
crazy, man. That's really cool.
I got them into metal more recently. Like I started them off with Bring Me the Horizon, Currents, if you ever heard of those guys.
I love Currents. I actually saw them just before the whole coronavirus thing kicked off.
I
They
tried
toured
to.
with Era and August Burns Red, and they were the first band on the bill. And honestly, mate, for me, they played a headline show. They are unbelievable,
Yeah.
absolutely unbelievable
I was
live.
supposed to see them, but I wasn't able to go to the show because, well, it's too close to Christmas.
Mm.
My best friend got me their vinyl for my birthday. I'm just
Oh,
like,
really?
because my
What
birthday's the
album?
day after that, so I'm over here like, you know me way too well. And fun thing
What
about
album?
Currents, they actually originated from my state. I'm in Connecticut, and that's where they started.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I find that really interesting that one of my favorite bands came from basically my home.
Yeah, that is crazy. That's pretty cool, though. Have you listened to their guitarist is also in another band called Shadow of Intent?
I've heard of them.
And they are phenomenal. They are great. They're like just I don't know. For me, on the deathcore scene at the moment, they are probably one of the best bands. I reckon I could probably recommend.
Oh, I'm gonna definitely look more into them than I've looked into them a little bit. I'm gonna be looking more into them a lot sooner.
Mm.
Because honestly, like I love to get into new bands. That's actually how me and Moonlight work together. He posts the bands daily. I listen to the stuff, and then I set up interviews.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, he's got loads of good stuff on his page. We literally when we came across it, we are kind of like filtering through all of the stuff that's on there, just like listening to it, and we was like, oh my god, we want to be a part of this so much. And yeah, he gave us a feature, which is really cool. But yeah, I've actually been speaking to Fraser today, and he's just a really, really nice guy. So I've
Yeah,
got a
he
lot of time
is.
for him.
We partnered up, I think, last week is when we partnered up, and now we've been doing this. He helps with the art and he helps with the editing. And I get all the interviews and we just put it all together. And I'm so sorry, my cat is in this shot.
No, no, you're absolutely
Well, one
fine.
of them, the other one's laying on her bed, but it's like he always likes to mess with my stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Goodness.
it's good. Like the work you guys are doing is really really good. Like, and obviously like we really appreciate it because, like I say, we're just a small band, and the work that you guys do pushes us out there. So thank you so much for that.
Of course.
It's sick.
Honestly, I love giving back to the community, even the smaller bands. Like, there's one guy who reached out to me recently, and I was the only one who actually responded to him. That kind of broke my heart a little bit because it's like just because you're a new band doesn't mean you can't get an interview right off the bat if you want one.
Yeah,
For me, it's even if you have one song out, but your heart is in it, that's good enough for me. That's how I view
yeah,
this whole thing.
that's definitely something that we found since obviously like starting this project as a band together. So see, we after kind of getting onto Instagram, we've been looking at like other kind of like local bands and stuff like that. And honestly, I didn't understand how much kind of like local talent there was, or like small band talent there was, because obviously you're fed through things like Spotify and iTunes. You're mainly fed the stuff that's kind of like hitting the big numbers. So like they've got like 500,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. You know, like bands like Error, Currents, and like I'm not saying they're not good. They're all fantastic bands, but that's the stuff that you kind of see. And then when you kind of go to like the underbelly side of it, you get like the smaller bands that have got like 500 monthly listeners, 1,000 monthly listeners, and then you start finding bands like Violent Answer, Mentally Blind, and you're like, damn, these guys are sick. Another one actually, a
Yeah, they
band
reached
just
out
across
to
the
me.
way.
Violent Answer actually reached out to me as well. We're planning one with them as well pretty soon.
Yeah, they're crazy good, like
They're
really
really
really.
good.
Another band as well actually. They're just across the way from us. They're based in Essex, so it's just outside of Kent where we're based. They're called Beyond Extinction, and they're a teenage like death metal band. And honestly, like they're so good, like so good.
I love it.
It's nice to kind of see like that the music scene is still like properly alive, and like there is stuff out there like that people want to listen to, because it is great. It gives you a lot of hope to kind of think like, actually, we could be sharing stages with these guys, and then like the music could grow together, and it's just really good.
Speaking
Really,
of
really.
sharing stages, who would you guys want to collaborate with the most?
uh oh, that's a tough question. It's not something we've actually thought about, to be fair. um I mean, realistically, for us, we'd be open for anything. Like we just love playing, and we just kind of want to get the music out there. So anyone that will take us, realistically, is who would share a stage with.
I do understand that completely. But yeah, like when you mentioned underbelly of music earlier, like I listen to almost everything. I love exploring both the modern, like the newer stuff, the more popular
Mm,
stuff, and the underbelly of the stuff. Because it's like there's so much to look at. Honestly, like I'm listening to more of the underground metal genre than I am with the mainstream.
mm.
Like honestly,
Oh yeah, it's
yeah, all the bands I've found are more underground. I love it. I'm over here like these guys should be on top and the other one should be on the bottom.
yeah. Oh yeah, there's so much out there, man. It's so good. Like it's because it all I kind of find like, so I tend to kind of like cycle music. I don't intentionally do it, but I often find myself kind of like in the summer months I listen to like more kind of like dance and R&B, because just kind of like at parties or just out and about more. And then spring is usually kind of like more pop punky stuff, and then like winter and autumn is more kind of like metal. I mean, metal's consistent all the way throughout the
Oh
year,
yeah.
but I kind of find myself listening to a lot more stuff during those points. But yeah, and there's just so much to listen to, so
Honestly,
much.
I get that all the time because I listen to almost every genre, older and newer
Mm,
stuff. Like I'm over here one time listening to funk from the '70s, and later in the day I'm listening to metal from like the newer age. I can literally go all over the place with music
mm.
because each music has its own little experience. Whenever you listen to a new song, it's great.
Yeah, yeah, no, it really really does. It is really good. But
And
yeah, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Sorry, carry on. You go.
a lot of music also has messages in them, which I always love to see. Because whenever I hear a new song, I always study the lyrics like over and over. Because there's
Mm.
always something in each lyric that people sometimes oversee.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely.
That's why I
I
love
mean,
metal because it's all pure emotion. Like with Currents, a while ago, I was in a bad state and almost myself, but
Yeah.
when I was listening to their music, it really got me thinking like I'm not the only one who goes through this. If they can stand up from it, so can I, and here I am.
Yeah, no, it's definitely it definitely it does it gives you an outlet. It gives you an outlet when you kind of feel like everything's too much. It's I don't know, like it's like when you go to a gig and you go and watch a band, like for the 3 or 4 hours that you're kind of there and you're watching live music and you're with other people who are watching live music, it almost feels like nothing outside of that venue exists, and you're just kind of like completely immersed in it. And that's one of the things that I really love about it. It is really good. And lyrically as well, metal is definitely one of the best genres lyrically. I feel like as well, it's kind of one of those things where like it's art, it's poetry. It's just put over some heavy slamming tracks, and you can kind of like listen to and read lyrics and see like what people have written, and they could have written something, but how you interpret it is entirely different. And I think that's a really good thing as well. That's one of my favorite things about music in general. Just kind of like it's diverse, it's fluid. You can interpret it however you want. A song could mean something to you, and it could mean something completely different to someone else. But the person wrote it, and it could mean something completely different to them. it's it's good. It's great. It really is good.
I love that aspect of it. It's like all interpretation and all of it has its own messages. That's why I've always loved the metal genre. Because even though it is a big outlet, but like the
Hmm.
thing is, when you really pay attention to the lyrics, you imagine how deep the stuff really goes. Like with Currents, with Atenna, Arrival of Autumn, like they're all the lyrics so far in metal really do have symbolic meaning, which is one of the big reasons why I stay in this genre more than any other genre.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely. No, I do fully agree. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's good. I think as well, it's like I don't know, like for me with writing lyrics specifically, I've kind of found like there's not I'll like write something and I'll have like a specific kind of like theme or idea in mind, and I'll write it out on a page, and then I'll kind of like show it to all the other guys in the band, and they'll read it and they'll interpret it differently to how I've written it. So in my head, I'm like, yeah, this means this, and this means this, and this means this, and then they'll read it and they'll go, oh, that means like this, and then I'll be like, oh no, it's not, but it doesn't matter. It's just interpretation. As long as they think it's good, I suppose that's the only thing that really matters. To be fair, so
I do get that. And honestly, with the way music is, I love seeing people who take true time into their lyrics like you guys do, because it makes the music really worth listening to.
mm.
Like when it comes to new age music, it's so hard to really get into it because, well, rap is way too mainstream, first of all. And it's like when
Yeah,
you really compare the two genres, metal has more symbolic meaning than the other genre does because a lot more heart and hard work goes into it. And
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I've
No, I would.
always been a metalhead.
Yeah, no, I would fully agree. I think it's kind of like the thing with being in a band as well is, as opposed to just being like a single artist, is that in our case, for example, there's five of us. So an idea has to spawn, and then five people have to go, yes, 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 as opposed to just one person having an idea and that person just, kind of going with it. So you all kind of have to agree on stuff. So, like the process, I mean, not in some cases, in some bands, they're really, really quick at writing, but most of the time, like the process is a little bit slower, and it's kind of like more thought out as opposed to just kind of like one person, like a pop star, for example, who gets played on the radio like 70 times a day. The song, I don't know, like I don't want to shun anybody's kind of hard work, but the lyrics and the music behind it might seem slightly hollow in comparison to a metal track, because it's been thought about so much more, and there's been like so many people kind of going and giving their ideas and their thoughts on it. And I think that's a yeah, that's kind of like what makes it, definitely.
Yeah. Honestly, that's one of the big reasons, like again, why I said that metal is a very important genre because a lot of hard work goes into it. And with a slower process, that means the track's just going to be better because it's more thought out. There's more to go with it.
Yeah. Oh
That's
yeah, 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 yeah,
that's
definitely. I fully
that's like
agree.
the big importance of it right there. And I love how a lot of people today don't understand that. Like I had a friend who only listened to rap music. I showed him some of stuff by Currents, Rebel of Autumn, a lot of metal groups, and he was like, "I've been missing out this whole time." I'm like, yeah, you should have thought of that sooner. But it's like
Yeah.
now all he blasts is metal because he really loves the meaning of it.
Yeah, it is good. Plus, as well, it just sounds so good. It does sound
Does
like chunky guitars, fat bass, really, really kind of like
crazy
chunky
drums.
drums. They're just, yeah,
It's amazing.
it is just good. It's just noise. It's like orchestrated noise. It's fantastic.
That's the best part of it. It's like it can give you an adrenaline rush, or it can put
Mm.
you in a total trance due to the chorus and the other parts of the song. Like I love when a song changes beat all of a sudden sometimes and just goes to like
Mm.
like a flat chorus. It just puts you in a completely different vibe. It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 it is really, really good, and it's something that's universally loved as well. And that's one of the best parts of it. Like since obviously getting on Instagram, we've kind of found like a lot of the people that follow our account, they're not just from like Kent or Southeast England. We've got like followers from all over the world, and that's great. I mean, like we're here having this conversation right now, and like you're based in Connecticut, so
Yeah.
so yeah, no, it is really good, and it is nice to see sort of like that people were actually interested in and actually want to listen to it. So it is great, especially as well because like this EP for us, like I said earlier, we had we had kind of like like I said, we've been a band since 2018, and it's taken us 2 years just to kind of like get this all together because we've just had to jump hurdle after hurdle after hurdle with it. I remember, so the guys actually had another vocalist before I was in the band, and that didn't work out. So that guy left, and then I joined. So obviously had to come in, had to like learn the songs and kind of like write to them. And then we thought about kind of getting in the studio and like recording everything. And there was a point where our drummer's brother unfortunately passed away. So that was like quite a big hurdle for him to get over, especially. So, you know, we didn't want to kind of like push anything on him and put pressure on him in like a hard time. And then obviously things started smoothing out again. And then our bassist dad passed away,
Well, that
which
sucks.
obviously was like a big shock to her, and you know, so she kind of like needed time to get to deal with that. And then after that smoothed out, we kind of got into the studio and got like all of like all of our drum tracks done and all of like the guide guitars and everything like that. And we were just kind of like on like a really good kind of like speedway to getting it done. And then obviously the lockdown hit the first one, so we couldn't go into the studio. And then that got lifted, and then we went back in, just kind of like doing like little tweaks here and there. And then another one came in, and then I think it was like this. I think it was the 5th of December last year when we eventually released it. But yeah, man, it's been hurdle after hurdle with it. But to see it finally get released and to see like the reception that it's got, especially from just like a small band like us, like we're no one. We're just five people. We've all got jobs, like we've all got lives, and you know, like we've just made this thing. And for people to kind of like recept it the way that it has been is just been fantastic to see, man. Honestly, it's so good. Like we're really, really grateful for everyone who's actually like listened to it and liked it. So yeah, it's been good.
Honestly, to me, this some of the best bands are the small ones. There's so much potential with them, and they're not like weighed down by labels or mainstream media. They have time to actually focus on their stuff.
Yeah,
That reminds me of an old saying, actually. The less popular you are, the better, because instead of living up to everyone else's standards, you can live up to your own.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why I
definitely.
love the smaller groups.
Yeah, that is definitely it. I mean, like, there's obviously, I don't know, like, for me, there is obviously like the kind of pressure to try and be not even really a pressure. I suppose it's just kind of like it's like a childhood fantasy, I suppose, isn't it? Like you're in a band, you're in a metal band, in your head, you can see yourself playing the main stage at Download and like playing the main stage at Vans Warped Tour and stuff like that. And then you're just kind of like, yeah, that's it. I really, really want to do that. But then
Mm.
obviously to do that is like you kind of when you actually get into a band, you realize how far and like how distant that dream actually is. That you just kind of like revel in like all of like the local stuff that's kind of going on. And that's where like the scene is because I don't care. Like I don't know. Like I don't really care if like hundreds of thousands of people don't listen to us. Like we're making music for us, and if other people like it, then that's great. But I mean, obviously, there is a small part of me that wants to be on that main stage and like live that Motley Crue rock star life because, I
Well,
mean, but it's not the '80s anymore, so it'll probably be different anyway.
well, the best thing about Warped Tour was actually he let anyone in. He didn't care as long as you wanted to play, he would let you play. I actually did research on that because I do Warped Tour posts every Wednesday. I went to
Oh,
Warped Tour a lot when I was like in my teens.
hmm.
I collected all the stuff that I could get my hands on before the last tour ended. Even got like a big signage from the booths in the basement and where my office is. The only reason we're not down there right now is because there's a lot of work being done right now down there. I didn't want to have any background noise. So if
Yeah,
you
sure.
be in a Warped Tour though, that was like my first main outlet into metal actually. Since you brought up Warped Tour, that's where
Yeah,
I got my first taste of it back in 2016. I first went. Like I was always into metal. I always was classic stuff like Queensryche, Ozzy Osbourne, stuff like that. But then when I
yeah.
went to Warped Tour, I really found out like there's a lot more than just that, and I started exploring underground, everything.
Oh yeah, man.
That's what started it. I was just an outcast kid who wanted to have a blast at a music festival, and Warped Tour was the first one I went to, and that
I
shit
mean,
was insane.
yeah, I can imagine. I mean, obviously, I'm not. I don't think there is a Warped Tour in the UK, but I mean, I would definitely, definitely love to fly out to the US. Obviously, when lockdown does eventually lift, and like just go to it because every single year when you see the lineups and stuff like that, you're always like, oh, why is that not in the UK? Oh, it'd be so sick if that was in the UK. But instead of hoping that it comes to the UK, just do something about it. Just go out to the US and go to it because it does look sick, man. Like it looks really, really sick. It would be
Sa-
good.
Sadly, the last one was 2019 because the guy retired, but he's been leaving out teasers and hints that it's coming back. So I'm just waiting on that.
Ah, see,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, because the founder Kevin Lyman, he did retire because he was doing it for 25 years. I can totally understand retirement,
Yeah.
but he left out a few hints as of recent, like saying once the pandemic is over, it's coming back under a different name, but it's still coming back. So I'm much over here like I hope this is true.
Yeah, that would be sick. That would be really, really cool.
Yeah, and knowing him,
Hopefully, I mean, hopefully, man. Hopefully, everything goes back to normal after the pandemic. Like, I know I'm in the same boat as everyone else, but we all had gigs and festivals and stuff booked, and I don't know. I think like it'll mean so much more, especially after like not being able to go to it for so long. Like England, there's pretty much been locked down since the beginning of 2020. It was like the end of February, beginning of March, and there's just been pretty much nothing going on since then. No pubs, no clubs, no local venues, no big venues, nothing. And I think after kind of like a year of just being inside, it would be really, really good to get out there and actually like see some bands. I mean, I had Lamb of God tickets booked, man. Like, I've never seen Lamb of God before. They've been one of my favourite bands since I was
honestly,
14. I am buzzing to see Lamb of God. It'll
I
be
forgot.
great.
I first got into them when I was younger myself. Like I think I was about maybe 12 when I first got into them. I heard it over the
Mm,
radio. I'm like, "Ooh, what's this?" And I just started from there. Yeah,
they are great. They're
there's
one of the
also
best bands in the world.
sorry, I keep talking first. That's my bad.
Oh, no, 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 carry on.
Yeah, there's even apps out there that play music from the artists like Gimme Metal. They do a whole bunch of stuff. Like I'm seeing bands I never heard of on there, a lot of underground stuff, and they always post. Oh, they have radio stations up every day. It's a fun little app I like to use.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll definitely give that a go.
But yeah, no, I do have one more question to ask.
Sure, go for it.
Two. First question was, what was the best piece of advice ever given to you when you got into this industry?
Uh, I'll tell you what, it was from the guy who does all of our recordings, Dan Lucas. We were recording, we were kind of talking about the whole kind of like big Motley Crue like fantasy of being in, like crazy hotel rooms of like penthouse suites and playing gigs to hundreds of thousands of people. And he was the person who said, you shouldn't be making music like for other people, you should be making music for yourself. And I think that's a really good bit of advice, because if you're just making music for other people, like I think it can really limit your creativity, because if you kind of just jump on what you think is popular, you end up just sounding like another band, as opposed to kind of like having that original sound that, you know, you and, I don't know, in our case, four friends can make. Like obviously there's influences, but you know, like I think it's definitely just try and just make music for yourself, make music that you want to listen to, not don't make music for other people. Like if they like it, that's a touch, but you know, we're making it for us, and then everything else is
Exactly.
just a bonus.
Making it for yourself is probably the best thing to do because it's more of from the heart, which is what I live for when it comes to metal. Because all of it I listen to is mainly just from the heart, which makes it amazing in itself.
Yeah.
Now, the last question I have is, what is next for Epic 26?
So obviously once this lockdown ends, we've got a new single coming out called Faded Memory. Um, and then we've got a few more songs in the pipeline that kind of like need finishing up. So we'll probably look at dropping a single, and then hopefully we should be looking at releasing another EP, maybe at the end of 2021, maybe beginning of 2022. So yeah, stay tuned because we will have new stuff soon, very, very soon.
Oh, I'm definitely excited for that.
I
And
appreciate
that
it, bro.
wraps up our interview. Thank you for talking with me. This has been
Thank you
another
very
Nerds
much.
Order review. Everyone stay safe and have a wonderful day.
Stay safe, guys. Thanks very much. Cheers.
Cheers.